for asking me that. All right, we're recording right now. So the difference between linear and supplementary is that they absolutely have to be equal, okay? Also, David, at the end, will you remind me to upload it or send me an email and remind me to upload the video to YouTube? I'm not very good at remembering that part. And then lastly, we have complementary, which is 90 degrees. And so it could look something like this. And we know the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is going to equal 90 degrees. So I'll leave this on here for a second. You can take a screenshot of this or get this in your notes. This is like a cheat sheet of like top 5 vocabulary words that we're gonna be using today. This is top 5 vocabulary words that are on your test, like top 5 of like everything, okay? So you need to remember these. So I would take a screenshot of it and I would like jot some notes down and we will reference this the entire class period today. Everything that we're doing today, you've already learned how to do, so it should be pretty easy for you to participate. All right. So this is where you'll first start to get some options for participation. So I want to first discuss here. I'll do the first one with you so you can kind of know what's going on. So when you see the 1 here, all it's talking about right here is this angle right in here, okay? That's what this 1 means. And then the 2 means that all it's talking about is this angle right here. We're not even doing a single, like we're not doing anything with this, nothing with that and nothing with that. It's only focusing on what I've highlighted in yellow, okay? So angle 1 and angle 2, what kind of angles are those? That's what this question is asking. These are vertical angles. That's all that they are, okay? They're nothing other than vertical. So on question 2, I'm gonna have you solve it, okay? So question 2, I want you to go ahead and write in the chat what you think the answer is. Yeah, write it in the chat, yeah. So this is gonna be like, you don't have to take notes on every single thing I do today, but like eventually we will, somebody's ringing the doorbell. Eventually we will get to this part. Will you make sure you tell them I'm getting observed from 1:45 to 2? So eventually like on these ones, you'll have to take notes on these, but like here you don't have to. Yeah, so Lily sent me something, type it in the chat and then I'll set 1, 2, 3 and have you send it on this. This one actually has 2 choices that it can be, okay? So ready, 1, 2, 3, send that in the chat. And you can send it privately or publicly, either one. Okay, so I see a lot of right answers and then I see a lot of ones that are not correct. So just a reminder again, that all we're talking about is the angles that are in angle 1 and the angle in angle 2. We're like ignoring the rest of this picture, okay? So if we look at that, these are adjacent and they are complementary. How do we know they're adjacent? Well, angle 1 and angle 2 are right next to each other, and then we have complementary. Well, this angle right here is 90 degrees. 90 takes up a big portion of the line. So if we have 180 minus 90, you end up with 90 left over, which means that between these 2 angles, you have 90 degrees, which tells us that they are complementary. Does that answer the question? You're good. This worksheet's a little confusing. Questions on that? How are we feeling here? It's kind of an extension. If you're not taking notes on this page, that's totally fine. It's a little difficult to put in your notes. All right, looking at question 3. Question 3, we're only looking at where angle 1 is and where angle 2 is. That's all we're looking at. And there are 1, 2, 3 choices that this can be. So go ahead and respond in the chat what you think these are, or yeah, just let's do chat for this page. So write it and then you can press send all at the same time. And you also, like when you're responding in the chat, you don't have to spell the whole world out. Like adjacent can be ADJ, complementary can be COM, supplementary can be SUP, linear can be LP, like however you want to abbreviate it, I'll understand it, okay? So let's go ahead and send it. 1, 2, 3. I see a lot of verticals. Vertical angles are 2 angles that are directly across from each other. So that does not work for this. What does work is that this is on a straight line. And so that means automatically this is a linear pair, okay? And anytime you have a linear pair, it's automatically supplementary because together they're gonna equal 180. And we also know angle 1 and 2 are right next to each other, so they are adjacent angles, okay? So question 4, there's actually only one choice that will work for this. So you can go ahead and type what you think it is in the chat. And it's probably not what you think it is. It's not 90 degrees because there's no box here. So just keep that in mind. It may look like it's 90 degrees, but it's not 90 degrees because there's no box. Oh, I need to stand up. I'm going to lose my step goal. All right, in the chat, what do we think the answer is? Send it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I love it. Okay, perfect. These are adjacent angles, and that's all they are. While this kind of looks like it could be a 90-degree angle, it's definitely not a 90-degree angle, and we know that because there's nothing that says that it's 90 degrees, therefore it's not 90 degrees. Question 5, there's like a lot going on in this picture, and so this one's pretty difficult. I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and guess in the chat, and then I'll explain it. I've made it really big, that way you can go ahead and know what's going on. So go ahead and respond in the chat right now what you think this one is. There are, let's see, there's 2 answers for this, and that's it. So go ahead and type it in the chat what you think it is. Yep, whoever just sent me that one got it right. Whoever sent me that got it right. You can go ahead and send it. 1, 2, 3, let's go for it, guys. You're starting to get it. Good, okay, I'm surprised how many of you got that this was complementary. I'm really proud of you. And it's also vertical. So how do we know that? Well, if we look at this, the easiest one to point out here is vertical, because vertical angles are 2 angles that are across from each other. We also know that, I keep looking at this thing, you guys are sending me the answer of corn, and you mean comp for complementary, but anyway, all I'm seeing is corn. So looking at this, we know right here automatically that this means 90, right? Which means that this would be 90. Well, we know that this is on this line right here. So we can take 180 minus 90, just like we did above, and we have 90 left over. So we know right here that there's 90 degrees to share between the 2 of these. And we know that these are directly across from each other. So they're equal automatically, which means that we have complementary angles. One other thing that we need to note here is that it says that this angle right here and this angle are equal. Well, if the total of those angles is 90, we can take 90 and divide it in half to get 45. So that means that this one would be 45 and this one would be 45, which means 2 would also be 45 because it's directly across. And if you want to get really technical, this is 45, which means that this is 90 and so is this. That's like way above your head, but we'll get there eventually. So let's go ahead and look at question number 6 now. There are 2 choices for this one. I'm like, oh good, I got my step. I got my 1 hour goal, guys. This is pretty exciting. My Apple Watch didn't charge last night, and I've been on a serious fitness streak, and I had like a little bit of a mental breakdown this morning because I couldn't track my workout. It was a serious problem in my world that was really not a problem probably in anyone else's world, but it's working now. All right, go ahead and send in the chat what you think this is. Okay, love the answer vertical. It's not complementary, it's the other one. So we got vertical. You guys are nailing it with the vertical. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so vertical is the correct answer, but we also need to kind of talk about what is going on here. So if this is 90 degrees, we know the one across from it would be 90. Well, we know that this is on a straight line, so together something's gonna equal 180. So if we take 180 and subtract out 90, we are left with 90 degrees, which means this is 90 and this is 90. So we have 90 here and 90 here. 90 plus 90 equals, what could these be? Send it in the chat what you think this is. $180, yeah, so which term would you be? Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. We would pick the term supplementary. Linear pair does not work for this because they're not together on a straight line. They are supplementary, okay? So let me erase this and then we'll move on to the next page. I think the next page is like a little bit fun. Like as fun as this could get. I'm sure Marco's gonna think it's so fun. Get ready, Marco.
You said what?
You're gonna find these really fun. So
don't find those really fun?
Yeah, these are gonna be fun. I think you're gonna get it. This is gonna be fun, okay? So if we look at this, all we're doing right now is we're solving for the lettered angle. So I'll do the first one for you to show you like what you're looking for, and then you guys will do them from here. I think that this is like kind of fun though, so we're gonna have fun with it. That being said, you can use your cheat sheet that we had at the beginning of class to answer these. So what I know right now is this 112 right here is directly across from the x, which means that x is automatically 112. How did I know that? Because they're vertical. So this 112 is the answer, and so is vertical. So for each of these, you need to tell me the vocabulary word that helped you understand what the answer was, and then tell me the actual answer, okay? Do you take notes? Yeah, I would take notes on these. So like in your notes, I would just like draw this picture and then fill in what the answer is. This should be easier to take notes on than what we were doing earlier. So for question 2, I need you to tell me what x is and what's the vocabulary word that help you get there. So you can send it in the chat. Okay, Lily, you're totally right. It is that word, and there's one other vocabulary word that goes with it too. So if you're gonna send it out in the chat, 1, 2, 3, let's do this. Oh, actually, you're off on your number. Sorry, somebody just sent the right number and then I realized, but you're good. I'll explain to you what's going on here. Good job, guys. Okay, so I see like a lot of us that have like 50-50 here. You're telling me that the number degree is 22, which is absolutely correct. This number degree right here is 22 degrees. So we know the degree of x is 22. And Lily told me that these are adjacent angles, which is totally correct. They definitely are adjacent angles, but that doesn't really help us solve this. The big one that we need to know is that these are complementary, and complementary equals 90. So all we did to solve this is we took 90 minus 68, and we solved it. And that's how we got this 22. Questions on that? Okay, awesome. Question 3, I want you to go ahead and type in the chat, don't send it yet. Question 3, I want you to type in the chat, just don't send it yet. So question 3, we are typing that, you're just not sending it yet, and then we'll send it all at one time. So you need a number answer for x, and then I want the vocabulary word, which there's 2 choices. Actually, there's 3 choices of vocabulary words for this one that could have helped you. So I think we're ready to send it. So let's go ahead and press 1, 2, 3. Yes, you guys are killing it here. Phenomenal. Okay, so most of you are sending it to me privately, which is totally fine. I see all of the correct answers here. So if we look at this, the first thing that I notice is that we see a line here. And as Leslie just told me, these are supplementary angles because they're both on a straight line. And let's see, Brissa also told me they were a linear pair because they're on a straight line. So if we know that these are, and I'm gonna abbreviate, these are supplementary, and we also know they're linear, we know automatically that together these are gonna equal, and let's see, Dayanara told me they're gonna equal 180. So we can take 180 and we can subtract out 124. Let me see, somebody sent me the answer. Jalen told me the answer is 56. Good job, guys. That was serious class effort. I love it. So I think we're kind of like getting the gist of what's going on here. Question 4 throws in a whole nother, not necessarily concept, but you have to think of multiple concepts at one time with question 4. So what I first want to do, and I would really love it if someone wants to unmute themselves, can somebody tell me how you know what y is? If you want to tell me in the chat, you can, but if you want to unmute yourself, that'd be wonderful. How can we determine y? You can tell me the number of it or the vocabulary word that works. And if you're sending in the chat, you don't have to wait for a chat storm, just send it. All right, I had one person send it. I want to get like at least 3 answers. The person who just sent it, you are correct though, just so you know. Good, okay, perfect. Now I've got 2 answers, they're perfect. Okay, now I'm getting a 10, wonderful. Okay, so what we know and what you just told me, and Gabriel, he told me this along with a bunch of others of you, you told me that y and 43 are vertical angles. So we know that Ashley just told me that it's 43 degrees because on our little cheat sheet that we made earlier, we know vertical angles are equal. Great job, guys. So what we really need to focus on right now is we have this, and I'm gonna outline it so we know what we're looking at. So we're gonna look at the measures for X and Y. What I just outlined are what kind of angles. You can go ahead and send it to me in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. So what kind of angles are they and what do they equal? Like, how could we solve for x is essentially what I'm asking you right now. You guys are killing it. I'm really proud of you. Okay, awesome. So I'm glad that we kind of backtracked today and took some time to re-go over this because I think it's really getting solidified. So Ashley just told me that they're linear and they equal 180. And then Jalen told me the answer is 137. And none of you told me they were supplementary, which I didn't necessarily need to know, but these are a linear pair and they are supplementary. So anytime you have a linear pair, they're supplementary. So great job, guys. And somebody just sent me in the chat exactly how you would write this out. So we could say 180 minus 43. And I got the answer. Jalen sent that to me. It is 137. So we know x is 137. And we figured this out because they are a linear pair and because they are supplementary. Great job, guys. So we have one last one. We need to find z. And there's two different ways that we could find z. I would like you to tell me in the chat how you personally found it. There's not necessarily a right way or a wrong way, as long as you're getting the right answer. So there's two different vocabulary words you could have used, and either one would lead you to the right answer. So go ahead in the chat and tell me the number degree that you think z is and what vocabulary word helped you get there. And you can send it. We don't have to wait for chat storm because you're all kind of answering, and since most of these have multiple answers, it's been pretty good for me to like dissect what you're thinking here. But if you want me to count to 3, I can. 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. Yep. Okay, love it. So let's see. Brissa said that this x and z are whoa, I don't know why that just disappeared. Sorry, guys. She said that x and z are vertical angles, so she knew that it was 137, which is totally and completely accurate. And then someone else told me they must have looked right here and said, oh, look at this. This is another set of supplementary because she told me they were supplementary. And so she took 180 minus 43, and that's how she found this 137. So whichever way you look at it is totally fine. We could have used the vertical angles right here, or again, you could have used this set of angles and said 180 minus 43 gives me this. Either option is perfect. So question number 5 adds a whole nother element, and then we're gonna kind of like slow it back down. So question number 5, you're good, don't worry, Jalen. Question number 5, we're gonna go ahead, let's start with y. I think that's the easiest starting place for us. So how do we solve for y, and what is a word that helped us get there? You guys are killing it with participation today. I'm really impressed. Thank you. You are doing phenomenal. Okay, wonderful. So I'm getting a zillion messages that say that these are oh, sorry, let me get my actual pen here. That these are vertical angles. They are directly across from each other. So perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh, and somebody started answering the next question for me already. Somebody just told me the vocabulary word that describes these that I'm outlining in pink. Can I get a few more people to send me that? Yes, you guys are great. Okay, so these are a linear pair, and somebody else just told me they're supplementary. And can somebody in the chat tell me what they equal? Yes, okay, perfect. So together, this y and x are gonna equal 180. Well, we know, sorry, I keep forgetting to re-grab my pen here. We know that we have 180, and we can subtract out that angle, and somebody want to send me the answer? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, Diana got it. She's got 108. So that looks really, really awesome to me. So there's a lot of different ways that we can approach what's going on right now, and I kind of want to take the most difficult approach in my thoughts what this is. So if we look at this, we have this angle that I'm going to outline in green, and I'm going to kind of color a little bit into it so you know what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about this one right here, that's 108. And then what if I go like this? This one right here. What kind of angles are these that I just like outlined? I don't need a number answer. I just want a vocabulary word. Yeah, bingo. Leslie just told me they're vertical angles. They're directly across from each other. So I'm solving for this in probably the more complicated way just because I kind of want to like flex our brains a little bit. But if we look at this, we already know that this box right here means, somebody want to tell me in the chat what this box means? Perfect. Means 90. Good. So we know it's 90. And Leslie told me that these are vertical angles. They're directly across from each other. We know vertical angles are equal to each other. So we know that 90 plus z is going to equal 108 because vertical angles are equal to each other. And we already used 90 of this, but we still have to find what's left right here. So we can go ahead and solve for this. And somebody several of you have already actually sent me the overall answer in the chat. You're just moving a little faster than me today, and that's okay. So we find that Z is, yes. Great job. Z is 18. There were a lot of different ways that you could solve for this, and on the next ones, I'll go ahead and look over it in a different format, just so we can get exposed to as many things as possible. So we've done these. Now we're gonna actually move further down into this page. So everything we've done right now, 1 through 5, and the notes that we took earlier, they all had pictures for us. These ones don't have pictures. So I personally, especially when we're like in the deep learning phase, which is what we're in, I'm gonna expand it. So first we'll do 6 and 8, and then we'll move over here and do this other side, just kind of for ease of our eyes. But in the learning phase, I like when we draw pictures. So we're gonna draw pictures, keep Miss Everly happy. So we have vertical angles, which I will draw for you, and then you're gonna tell me what vertical angles are. So in the chat right now, can somebody tell me what we know about those vertical angles? So vertical angles are vocabulary words. So all I did right now was draw angles that could potentially be vertical. I call one of them angle 2, and I'll call one of them angle 1, just like this. Yes, okay, great job. Great job. Okay, so Gabe told me the answer. Ashley told me they're always congruent. Leslie told me they equal the same. Phenomenal, guys. I think this cheat sheet that we did at the beginning of class helped. Does anybody agree with that? Thumbs up if we agree. I think it helped me. Good job, thank you. Perfect. All right, yeah, cheat sheet totally helped. All right, so everything that's on that cheat sheet, by the way, you should just eventually commit to memory so that you don't need the cheat sheet anymore. So you guys already told me the answer. Vertical angles are equal to each other. They're always congruent to each other. Therefore, that we know if the measure of angle 2 is 105, which I can stick in here, 105 degrees, we know automatically the measure of angle 1 is also 105. Wonderful job, guys. We're gonna do question 8 now, just so I don't have to move the page. So it says P and Q are supplementary. Tell me everything you know about supplementary in the chat. Marco, I want to hear from you, man.
You said what? You want to hear what from me?
What do you know about supplementary?
What do I know about supplementary?
Yeah, you can look at your cheat sheet if you need to. Oh, Jalen just told me the answer in a private chat. What are you going to do now?
Hey, miss, she's looking it up.
I like that. It should be at the very top of your notes, supplementary.
Well, Miss, I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, who wants to unmute themselves and phone a friend to help Marco?
Jonathan?
Jonathan, you want to phone a friend, man? Or Jonathan, how about you answer? You are the phone a friend. You guys are too young.
I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what it is?
Oh.
What about your cheat sheet that we wrote down earlier? We're looking at supplementary. I'll highlight it so we don't forget what we're looking at. I'll scroll back up if that will help you. So your cheat sheet that we should have written down from earlier today, let's see. Oh, I didn't even erase it. Look at this. Supplementary. Marco, you want to read that to me?
Any two angles whose sum is 180 degrees.
So what does supplementary angles mean? What does it equal?
180 degrees.
Perfect. What else equals 180 degrees? Do you know? Would a line be 180? Maybe.
Yeah, because it's straight.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we know that P and Q are supplementary. Therefore, these are going to equal 180. Oh, I'm using Christmas colors. Does anybody have their house decorated for Christmas yet? I do. So we know that supplementary is 180 degrees. If we add P and Q together, they're going to equal 180. Well, they tell us that Q is 64 degrees. So how can I find P? Which, like, a zillion of you already sent me the answer, so I'm kind of perfect. I think we're ready for this. So you can set it up, and you can take 180 minus 64, and that leads you to the answer. Anybody want to send me the actual answer? Elder, I'm picking on you next, so get ready. All right, good. So we have 180 minus 64, which leads us to 116 is what we have left. Great job, guys. So we're gonna go back over here and do 7 and 8. So Elder, putting you on the spot, man, complementary angles, what does that mean?
I gotta start from
Carlos, shut up.
What?
What'd you say?
Complementary angles, what does that equal? What do you know about it? If you need to go back to your cheat sheet at the top of the page, you can.
Okay.
If you give a girl a compliment, she's looking, right? That's a really good meme. No? Do we need to scroll back up? Should we read it?
It's an angle with the sum of 90 in it.
Yes, ain't it? It is. Good job. Perfect. So that means that this picture right here, they're going to equal 90 degrees. Thanks, Elder. And we have angle A and we have angle B. And I'm going to switch to green. It's so festive here. It says A is 42 degrees. So if we know the total of these is 90, what can we do right now? Elder, I'm going to pick on you. What would I do? How could I find B right now? If we know they equal 90, you told me they equal 90. What should I subtract from 90 to find B?
42.
Yep. Was that Elder? I don't feel like that was Elder's voice.
No, that was me.
Well, that's the true definition of a friend here, coming in at the last second. I love it. All right, perfect. You guys are all sending it to me in the chat, and I'm not even picking on all of you. This is perfect. So we got that, and we know that our answer is 48 degrees. I think that this is finally clicking. I'm really pumped. So this is the last one from our like easy type of questions, and then we're gonna move on to solving for actual like difficult angles. So it says 1 and 2 form a linear pair. Leslie, can you unmute yourself and tell me what a linear pair means? Leslie, I just picked on you. Can you tell me what a linear pair means?
Two angles that are adjustive and supplementary in the form of straight line.
You told me everything I need to know about this. Perfect. So they're adjacent, which means they're next to each other, and they're supplementary, and they form a straight line. So together they're going to equal 180. And we know that the measure of angle 1, all right, I'll drift away from Christmas colors right now, even though an elf somewhere is sad. So we know that together they're going to be 180, and I can subtract out that 113. Somebody sent me in the chat. I didn't even have to tell you to send it to me. You already sent me the answer. Perfect, guys. So we got 67 degrees. I love it. All right, so questions on this. I think that you guys are crushing it. I'm kind of glad we backtracked for a day. And I think the cheat sheet really saved the day for some of us. So let's talk about this. So we don't have the answers, or sorry, we don't have what the angles are filled in on this. You're gonna have to fill them in on your own. So on your sheet of paper, you should draw this picture for question 10 and then fill in where they are. So
In a journal?
do what?
In a journal?
Yeah, in your journal, your sheet of paper, your notes, whatever you want to fill it in on. Yep.
Alright.
So you have PTQ. Sorry, PQT. Sometimes I get my letters mixed up. I wonder what that means. So we have that. And then if we look at this next one, it wants SQR. And people are already telling me what these are in the chat. Look at you guys. So I think that this is kind of like a fun day in math class. It's kind of like solving for a puzzle. So get excited. So these are what kind of angles? Yes, bingo. Look at you guys. These are vertical angles, crushing it here. So we know that vertical angles are equal to each other because they're directly across from each other. Yes, you guys are so good. So we're gonna go ahead and solve. So what I'll always do, and it's a lot easier for me to tell where you're at when we're actually in person, but I'll usually give you about a minute to solve it on your own, and then I'll start solving it. You guys have all passed algebra, so my assumption, and we've already gone over this too, is that you know how to solve for X. If you're struggling with solving for X, send me an email, and we'll go over it during Aztec intervention, but this is an algebra skill, so once we set it up, like, I'm gonna assume you're just gonna like fly through this and solve for X, which you are because people are already sending me the answer. Yes. I haven't even gotten the answer yet, guys. All right, perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and start solving for this. And if you're not as fast at solving as I am, like, that's totally fine. I'm literally 30 years old and have done a million of these, so I don't expect you to be as fast as me.
Hey, miss, who was that guy? He looked important. That's why I got scared. That's who?
That was the principal, one of them.
Stay on God. For real? Well, I mean, it was cool. Like, we were doing, it was cool.
Shut up.
We're doing good.
Guys, be nice to each other. I'm
Wait,
recording.
did he leave?
I think so, yeah.
I miss. I'm gonna go play video games.
No, we're not playing any video games. You were staying right here.
Man, she's playing with some guy named Carlos.
What? Can you give me 5?
His
I don't even know a dude
name.
named Carlos.
Give me 5 more minutes, okay? How did I get so far in the other class? I got so far in the other class. Okay, so we got 24. Yeah, okay. I would like at least 5 more minutes, okay? 5 minutes? Thank you. All right, cool. So looking at this one, it does not want X, though. It wants SQR, so you're going to have to plug it into SQR right here. As soon as this class is over, I'm going to go walk on the beach, and I'm pretty pumped about it, just so you know. Okay, so we have 6 times 24 minus 25. Bingo, there we go. Oh, did you get it? Did it write down for you? There we go. Do you like it? How do I feel about it? Yeah, okay, so those of you who sent me the answer, like, super close, but what you sent me is not actually the answer. You have to make sure that you plug it back in. Like, you got X, you did all the hard work, make sure you plug it back in, okay? All right, let's go ahead and look at the next one. It says ABC is perpendicular to CD. Well, you probably forgot that that meant perpendicular, but perpendicular means 90. So that means that both of these would be 90 degrees. So we have DCE, which is x plus 2, or sorry, 7x plus 2. And then we have ECB is x plus 8. Well, we know that together these are going to equal 90. So we have 7x plus 2 plus x plus 8 equals 90. Okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and solve this because class is getting long and my voice is starting to hurt. But it doesn't just want that. So now that we know that this is 10, we actually have to find DCE, which is right here and right here. So all we do is plug it in. All right, let's do another one. So we have K and M, which I'm going to write K and M is 8x minus 5. And we have M and J, which is right here, 4x minus 19. Well, these are going to be on a straight line right here. So together, they're going to equal 180. And while you solve for that, I'll be a really nice teacher and you can look at my view out the window right here and have some relaxation while I let you solve that. Isn't it beautiful?
Where are you?
I'm in Texas at the beach. Guys, so far I've taught you from 11 different states since school started. I just bring a traveling shower curtain. So this morning when I got up, I did my workout out on the beach, and then I went and walked the beach for 5 miles. But my watch did not track any of it. It was very sad. But this one does not want X. It wants K and M, which is this one right here. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to put the answer all the way over here just so I can really royally confuse everybody. Good job, guys. And I'll let you leave early today because you did such a phenomenal job. Okay? So you're free to leave after this. You did a good job.
So you said we could go?
Yeah. Are you happy?
Bye, Miss.
Bye. You're gonna turn this in on, I believe, yeah, Monday, because we'll finish the rest of this.
Monday.
You have to finish it on your own,
Okay.
and we'll turn it in on Monday.
Miss, tell Marco to stop playing on the games.
Marco, knock it off.